This weekend has not been good for the Cameroonian Defense Forces, especially those operating in the restive regions of the country, to be more precise, in the southwest region. Today, which happens to be the 6th of September 2025, a gendarme officer was killed in Wututu, a locality in Boya subdivision, Fako division, in the southwest region of Cameroon. This gendarme officer is working at Bojongo, which is in Limbe, which is the divisional headquarters for the Fako division. Now, he was ambushed while on a patrol. He was alone doing a patrol, and that area for a while now has experienced relative calm. So, despite the fact that it has experienced relative calm, military and gendarme officers are still patrolling that area to ensure that peace effectively, or the separatist fighters are effectively defeated in that area. Unfortunately, this gendarme officer was killed, and in a video which circulated on social media, which I will not play because of the sensitivity of the video, those in the video who are purported to be separatist fighters could be heard telling the dead body that we had warned you not to patrol in this area, and you have been asking the question, you have been asking Amba Nawu. Now, it is so sad to see how families of Cameroonians are losing their sons and daughters as a result of the Anglophone crisis, which many are of the opinion that could have been solved or can be resolved politically in order to reduce the violence, or if not stop the violence permanently. This is coming at a time when 7 Cameroonian soldiers were killed in the same southwest region, in the same Fako subdivision, but this time Fako division, but this time it was in Moyoka subdivision. These 7 Cameroonian soldiers were killed by an improvised explosive device known as improvised explosive device, IED. Now, what happened was that these persons were killed in Malinde, which is a locality in Moyoka subdivision. It is putting the figures to at least 8. Though some are claiming that 8 were killed yesterday, but officially we are seeing that 7 were killed and their weapons were collected. This is coming at the eve of an election, a presidential election, which many are of the opinion that this election will be a decisive one. But however, with the surge now in violence in the southwest region and threat level raised in the northwest region, many are asking the question why, or if the people of those areas will be able to exercise their franchise, that is to pick their leader, in a time when many are saying that this is a much anticipated election. For context, the crisis started in 2016, peacefully as a result of teachers and lawyers. In 2016, November, it moved at a time when lawyers, Fako lawyers and the Anglophone lawyers launched a protest. When they launched a protest, some lawyers were beaten in Munya. They were bundled to the Munya police station. Their wigs were seized by police officers and handed to the divisional officer at the time. And as a result of that, the teachers also came into the strike. The teachers launched their own through the Teachers Trade Union, explaining that the Anglophone subsystem of education was under attack. As things happened left and right, government immediately weighed in and started expressing zeal to negotiate with the teachers and the lawyers. The government called the teachers and the lawyers to see how they can negotiate their path forward. So, in that early 2016, as they were trying to negotiate their way, students of the University of Boya actually had a strike action. What happened was, at the time, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Pauline Alova-Lyonga, was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Boya. When things were about to calm down and the government was about to engage in negotiation with the teachers and the lawyers, violence came in as the protest in University of Boya saw police officers and gendarme officers invading the University of Buea. When they invaded the University of Buea, they actually arrested some students and bundled up for detention. That was in 2016 November. As tension mounted, police and gendarme officers went to Moliko hostesses, got some students out, and some of our friends were actually beaten. At that time, I was working at CMTV television. In the bar, we were sharing a studio with the bar. Some persons were actually beaten, and I remember covering that incident where one of the victims actually showed me the evidence about being tortured. Now, that actually ignited the teachers and lawyers to take this to a different level. Now they formed a consortium that became known as the Civil Society Consortium. The Civil Society Consortium had the leaders as Barrister Agbo Balankomo Felix. What was the raison d'etre? Well, the raison d'etre was to protect the teachers and the lawyers from being influenced or from being molded by force by the government of Cameroon. Now, these teachers and lawyers came under the banner of an Anglophone Civil Society Consortium. So by early December, the president of the Republic, President Paul Biya, asked the Prime Minister at the time, Yan Philemon, to convene interministerial committee. This interministerial committee was convened, one in Bamenda, headed by Paul Gogomo, one in Yaoundé, which was for the lawyers. The lawyers were in Yaoundé, and the teachers were in Bamenda. And at the time, Minister Paul Atanganyi was interviewed in CRTV, and he was asked, how is the situation in Bamenda? He said the situation in Bamenda are calm, and that the government have asked that those who are revendicating should go and meet the ministers whom the government has mandated to discuss with them. Fast forward, the dialogue in Bamenda was going on, and the one in Yaoundé was going on. In Bamenda, tension mounted because at the upstation hill, it was revealed that the teachers were about to have a conclusion, a negotiation with the government to end the crisis. But in that evening, the teachers asked for time to go and sit and concert and see how they can uplift the ghost town that they have called for. Unfortunately, the government negotiators also stressed that their role in Bamenda was not to actually determine the form of the state or to discuss the form of the state, which the teachers were now saying that it is the form of the state that they have to discuss, which they think the form of the state will protect whatever the government has proposed to them as concrete solution to protect the Anglophone Civil Society Consortium. So the government negotiators refused and noted that no, we had a mandate to provide you what is professionally related to the educational family, to redeploy teachers to their region of origin, to actually ensure that the Anglophone subsystem of education is protected, to create a bilingualism and multiculturalizing commission, to make sure that French teachers are not sent to teach English in English-dominated schools, and just among others. The teachers and the lawyers said, okay, based on this, give us time to go and discuss. That was in December, late December. So as they were discussing that night, the population came out to circuit the negotiators. That, according to the population, they heard that the teachers were forced to actually agree on the terms which was not of the interest of the common people. And at that same evening, tension mounted. The then chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Ni John Fundi, went to upstation, and also a senior lawyer of blessed memory, Barrister Bernard Muna, went to upstation. And that evening, Fundi was interviewed, and Fundi said he had come to see if pressure is being mounted on the teachers, and no pressure is mounted on the teachers. That same evening, Barrister Bernard Muna of blessed memory was interviewed, and he said, and they asked him that what is happening in Bamenda, what is his message to the young people? He said, let them bloody fight, man, pie is old. This country was united by the will of the people of Southern Cameroon, not by the will of any other person. That pie is 60, pie is whatever, pie will go. That was the words used by Bernard Muna. Now, in the morning, the teachers were hoping to uplift it in the morning, to uplift or to cancel ghost town and to call for effective resumption. A young man in Bamenda was killed, and this now changed the dynamics, and the teachers now and lawyers now saw that if they had agreed, the population would no longer be with them, and so the consortium sat again under the banner of Barrister Nkongo Agbobala Felix on the 8th of January 2017 this time, and said in their famous declaration that schools will not open, shops will remain closed until the government of Cameroon decide that we will know, in the word of Tassan Wifre, that we will know if Yaoundé, if by tomorrow night, if it's Yaoundé that control us or we control our people. Taking you to that context, therefore, it escalated. The government could no longer take it, as the government saw that as arrogance and disrespect of state institutions. So the government, on the 17th of January, banned the Anglophone Civil Society Consortium. The consortium was banned and some of its members arrested. That same evening, as they were arrested, there was tension in Boya as people tried to block they tried to block the police officer from whisking up Agbobala Nkongo Felix and some others to Yaoundé. But unfortunately, they did not succeed. So that was around the 19th of January. So fast forward, things move on. September 22, now 2017, the civil society Anglophone consortium leaders have been arrested. Government National Communications Council at the time, Peter Esoka, asked that there should not be any discussion about federation on TV, on radio, on print. Now, in that same light, that same 17, the civil society consortium, there was a vacant, there was a void, a vacancy now on those who were actually to lead the people who had already got involved in the process of a revolution. Now, the people are saying that the Anglophones joined the union with the Republic of Cameroon under the condition of a federal two-state federation with bijurial and bicultural nature, where none of the entity is treated as a union, is where nobody is treated as just Cameroonians, but respect of autonomy. However, fast forward, it did not happen. So September 22, the people went to the street from separatists or the secessionists or separatist leaders, or they call them restorationists, whichever appellation, separatist, restoration, whichever, that they should move to the street in September 22 and declare independence. So they went to September 22 peacefully in some areas. Some areas erupted with violence. Some people were killed in Moliko on that same September 22. Ekona police station at the research center was brought down, and some other things happened. And the road in Ekona became impassable with rocks and sticks as thousands flooded, moving right up to Boya. Fast forward, after September 22, the government saw that they were actually taken unaware by the protesters, because the protesters overpowered security forces. So the government prepared, and as calls were going on 1st of October 2017, the government started sending messages. Dear parents, don't allow your children to go out. Protect your child. The Cameroon is one and indivisible. Nobody should move to the street on 1st of October 2017 because government will take security action. Unfortunately, the people defied the orders and went to the street. Government cut off internet. The government of Cameroon cut off internet in that 1st of October 2017. Many arrests were done. Many people were killed. Some military officers were killed, and some protesters were killed. That was how the Anglophone crisis now catapulted or metamorphosed into an armed conflict. As it metamorphosed into armed conflict, that's in 2017, October, a Janam officer was killed in Kumbo, and things went haywire. So, not to make this video long, taking you now in context, years passed by, we started having series of massacre. We had the Fiango, students were killed in Fiango. Government accused separatists accused government, that is the Mother Francisca. We also had in Gabu, the Valentine's Day, 14 February attack in 2018, where people were killed in Gabu, a locality in the northwest region, Donga Mountain Division. We also had the baby Mata was killed in Moyuka, a Huma was beheaded in Moyuka called Bebe, all these things, and we had Ayafo Florence. A lot has gone under the bridge. Now, the government of Cameroon announced that there will be a national dialogue that was called, in 2019, September 30th, 2019, Major National Dialogue. Some separatist fighters receive invitation, some separatist leaders receive invitation. They said they will not come because the government has not guaranteed neutrality and they wanted a neutral venue. However, negotiation was sent on the form of the state. Government refused discussion form of the state, brought in accelerated decentralization. Now, ministers were redeployed, 1,000 bilingual teachers were recruited, science bilingual teachers were recruited. Don't ask me what that is, just to name this. So, ladies and gentlemen, in all of this cacophony, therefore, the crisis continued. Government created TDRA Center after the mentioned national dialogue. Government announced the reconstruction and reconstruction. Now, reconstruction, what are they reconstructed? I don't know. Don't ask me. They have said they have reconstructed some things. Now, DRS centers, some separatist fighters have actually dropped their weapons, dropped their arms. Some have refused, that the government did not give them weapons, and the government cannot ask them to drop their weapons, and that the government must negotiate. The government says negotiation has ended effectively, that the only way to negotiate with you, go and drop your arms and allow the government of President Pobia to do the right thing. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that is a rough summary that I can give you every time I try to give a context for those who are not Cameroonians to understand what is happening.
Congratulations! You've passed your GCE or baccalaureate, and now it's time to choose a professional university that opens real doors to your future. Let us introduce you to the African Higher Institute of Technology, a career-focused institution that not only awards internationally recognized certificates, but also guarantees direct employment opportunities upon graduation through its solid network of partner companies and institutions worldwide. This school operates in collaboration with the Cameroon Ministry of Higher Education, UBA Bank, St. Francis Xavier Institute, Canada. Located in Yaoundé, Mendong, away from the noisy town, AHIT provides the following for its students: a free brand new laptop immediately after paying a registration fee of 25,000 francs CFA, free high-speed internet access on campus, hands-on professional training, mentorship from local and international experts, offering courses like local government in accounting, finance and administration, computer engineering, artificial intelligence, biomedical sciences, economics and finance, business and management, arts and education, law and public policy, agricultural sciences. Whether you dream of becoming a software developer, civil engineer, healthcare technician, or business strategist, ICT is your direct path to success. Apply now and take the bold step toward a future of innovation, professionalism, and global opportunity.